Matt Schlapp, the chairman of the American Conservative Union, is joining us now. Matt, this has been one of the most ridiculous things I have ever seen. And while it's laughable, it is extraordinarily dangerous of what happened to CPAC this weekend.
Yeah, Glenn, thanks for having me on. And thanks for using your immense gifts to try to figure out the story here, because, you know, CPAC is an amazing thing to put on. Someone just told me that if we had been an advertiser in the Super Bowl, we would have been number 2 because it just gets so much attention, but it gets good attention and bad attention, right? It's this conference unlike anything on the globe where conservatives come together. Liberals don't have anything like it except for the daily news that's on television.
Right.
And so what they do is they try to do everything possible to just, slime us, to stop us, to distract us. And every time we walk into this, we say anything could come our way. We have to be open and ready. But in my wildest dreams, I never thought this would come our way.
So here's what happened. Yesterday, Stu said to me, is there a 1% chance that somebody intentionally sabotaged CPAC? And I thought to myself, yeah, there's a 1% chance. Let's see who designed the stage. Well, in our research, we found that Design Foundry designed your stage. And I contacted you. Is that who designed your stage? They've been partners for how long?
Several years, and they do, what is excellent work, and they work for a lot of, companies and liberal organizations, and, they're a group of talented artists.
So we sent them an email, tried to contact them, and then we sent them an email yesterday afternoon, early in the afternoon, and said, can you please explain the design process for the claim that some people claim that it was intentionally designed with Nazi symbolism in mind. Was that an unfortunate coincidence, or did a rogue employee from Design Foundry throw the designs? Some have speculated that it's possible that someone at Design Foundry was intentionally trying to sabotage the CPAC reputation. We, however, would like to give both your company and CPAC the benefit of the doubt, as we believe most Americans are not even familiar with this obscure Nazi symbolism. If this is an unfortunate coincidence, we'd like to hear from you directly. We're going to report on a provided statement from you or Design Factory at large for Glenn's radio program tomorrow. You have a 7 a.m. Eastern deadline. They did last night issue this statement to us. They said, we were retained by the American Conservative Union Foundation to design the stage for this year's CPAC conference. As part of our working agreement, the client provided our team with feedback, revisions, and final approval on all aspects of deliverables outlined in the contract, including stage design. The approved stage design was intended to provide the best use of space given the constraints of the ballroom and social distancing requirements. The iterative design process included review and input from CPAC, the hosting event space, other vendors, and county officials. We had no idea that the design resembled any symbol, nor was there any intention to create something that did. We are saddened and horrified at the accusations that this was a deliberate act. Design Foundry denounces all hate speech and acts of racism, prejudice, or bigotry in all forms. The evolution of the stage design renderings can be found here with relevant timestamps. So they provided a Google Drive of all of the renderings. How did this come down? How did you guys at any point say, well, that's not quite Nazi enough, or how did this happen?
Yeah. No, and within the documents it says that they actually retain ownership of the design. It's 100% their design. Now, of course, it's collaborative because we're paying the bills and the stage has to work well. I mean, one of the things we've done, and Glenn, you've been on that stage so many times, is to try to demystify the stage, bring it to the people, let people sit around the stage and not make it so formalized. And just because of the way this room was, this design was the best one that this company came up with. I mean, we're not artists, we're other things, right? We have other talents. And I understand the reason why everyone's so quiet, Glenn, is because one of the things that cancel culture does is they slime you with an unjust charge or name, And everybody runs for the tall grass. Everybody runs for
Well,
the
wait a
tall
minute,
grass.
wait a minute. Before you go there, let me ask you. This is a partner of many years of yours. If I did something on stage and I, was a partner with you and you had asked me to, do work for you, I would immediately step to you wouldn't even have to call me. I would say, no, that's on us. We did it, and that was not the intention. But I would expect that you would call. Why didn't you call Design Foundry right away and say, hey, this is your design? Make a statement.
Not only did we not call them right away, they were, I believe, right there because they helped with every aspect of the stage. I believe there was somebody either on site or in constant communication. So those conversations happened immediately. Like, what is this? My last name is Schlapp. I've never heard of this Nazi sign. I mean, this really hit me as a complete surprise. We have a young man working for us who studied anti-Semitism in college. And he was like, I don't understand what they're saying the symbol is. So it's not like it was a well-recognized thing. Now, is it possible that somebody, in this process was trying to be very clever and set us up from a PR standpoint? I guess we'll learn more as the days go by.
So, but wait, you did say, hey, what's the deal? And did you ask them to come out? Because it wasn't until last night that they came out and said, of course you did.
Of course we did.
So why would a good partner,
did that with all of our partners.
Why would a good partner do that to you?
Because, well, first of all, as I said, everybody runs for the tall grass, right? Maybe people don't have courage. Maybe people don't have integrity. That's clearly a part of this, where both the Hyatt and this firm looked to CPAC and said, look, hands off, we have nothing to do with this stage. That's outrageous. This whole process takes months. Glenn, you do these huge productions.
I do.
This whole process takes months. You go back and forth and back and forth. You have to hire all the talent because we can't miss our deadlines because thousands of people and all the press is going to be there assembled. Everybody saw this. Everybody had to figure out how to construct this. Everybody had eyes on it from every angle. Nobody in that process ever raised their hand and said, oh, I took a European history class and I noticed ... Nobody, because it wasn't something that somebody
would recognize.
Even people who studied, no.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's outrageous. That's why it's so shocking.
Tell me, I was very disappointed with the Hyatt. The Hyatt first defended you. Did the Hyatt know that this stage was not of your doing, but of this design firm's doing?
Yes, because the design firm, the hotel, and CPAC work collaboratively to be able to construct it. You have to actually construct the thing. And the hotel has to agree with who's going to do that work. Everyone has to understand it's got to meet a certain bid. So what our two partners did to us is basically, point the other way and say, I'm not sure what this is, but go talk to CPAC. Now, we're fine with taking the hits. We always take the hits. It's part of being a prominent conservative group. You're going to take the hits, but we're not going to let people lie. And we're not going to let people, the most important thing here, Glenn, is would we somehow think it'd be amusing or funny to have anything associated with fascism or Nazism associated with the conference? And of course, the conference does exactly the opposite. So if we want to expel bigotry from our society, including anti-Semitism, we did just the opposite at that conference to being anti-Semitic. But they don't care about that. They wanted to catch us in this.
You know that I have a good relationship with the State of Israel and Jewish organizations.
Yes.
You provide service for Jewish organizations. There's a big conservative Jewish organization that every time I'm at CPAC, I attend. On the Sabbath, I go and I speak to them.
Shabbat dinner.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's a big deal. What kind of anti-Semites would have a Shabbat dinner? For the love of Pete. It's ridiculous. We've been talking about the stage that Morgan Freeman, all these people just tweeted was Nazi. And it is so offensive, especially at a time when the media is telling us that they are the ones that are going to guard misinformation. They're going to guard to make sure that no lies are spread. Where's PolitiFact? Where's Twitter? Where's anyone on this? This is so dangerous, Matt. Why?
Because what the cancel culture does is they make a false charge against an American of good conscience. And if that charge sticks, you will lose all commercial opportunities. Your kids will be attacked on social media and potentially in school that could be kicked out of schools. Colleges will go after your kids and your grandkids. This is a very serious thing. It's no longer about having a political disagreement where one side seemingly wins and one side seemingly loses. It's now about making you unfit to be in civilized society. And what they want to do with CPAC is let these charges kind of float out there, get verified, as you said, by places like Twitter, so that no hotel will ever host conservatives, Christians, Jews, Americans who love our founding. They won't host them. Where will we go? We'll have to have our own hotels. We'll have to have our own restaurants. This is simply not American.
So why would, even if this is untrue, which it is, and it's proven now that this charge was untrue, wouldn't hotels also, just because of the mess, say, I don't want to deal with all of that? So it doesn't matter in the end if it's true or not.
That's right. That's the intent. And I want to just go back in time here. The Hyatt Regency in Orlando recruited us. They wanted us. They asked us for our business. They gave us a great bid, which allowed the thousands of Americans who came here, reasonable hotel rates. The employees came up to me and to my colleagues during the conference and said, thank God you're here. The hotel feels for the first time like it's back to normal. We're full. Every room was taken. One guy said to me, if it wasn't for this conference, I wouldn't have a job altogether. Thank you. There was a real spirit of appreciation.
Gosh, that wasn't the story from the Hyatt on Monday afternoon or Tuesday. They were saying that you were rude to their people.
So, and I want to say this because, Glenn, their perception could have been that I personally was rude. When they showed me their first statement, which basically was going to call into question whether or not we were, bigoted towards Jews or Nazi sympathizers, you know what? I did what I do when I get called these names. I reacted. I told them it's unacceptable. I feel like we're so passive from the conservative community when we get called these names because we know it's not true. But it really upsets me. This is not right. You can't slam someone like that. And if you do, and if you care about these issues, and we care so deeply, like you said, about the state of Israel and the Jewish community, we do so much work with them. The ambassador to Israel spoke from that stage. How absurd is all this? And they want to say, well, we're going to do an investigation about your potential ties to Nazism. No, I'm not going to accept that. And if that hurts someone's feelings because I'm going to defend our honor, so be it.
Good for you. So defense is one thing. Going after and pursuing people that wronged you is another. I would be very tempted, if I were you, to lodge some major lawsuits.
Well, we have a lot of very talented lawyers on our board now because that's kind of part and parcel to running a conservative group. And we're looking very seriously at these options. Let me take it a little broader, Glenn. Not just this episode. I can't tell you how many people have called me during the course of this most tumultuous of years and said, at what point does the conservative community, does the 74 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump, do the people who love America and think it's okay to read Dr. Seuss and love Thomas Jefferson and Mount Rushmore, at what point do they start pushing back on the cancel culture? At what point do they say, this is a line you cannot cross? I think we're at that line. I think what I realized during this, we called our conference America Uncanceled, and the whole thing became about them canceling us. And at what point do we not have the right to say, you can't treat us this way? You're disparaging us. You're destroying our reputations. You're destroying our ability to be respected members in this community. So I take your challenge on pursuing our legal options very seriously. And I think we have to go broader. We can't let these companies just follow the woke mob. We can't do it.